started the show talking Cavs. We got off Cavs. We're going to go back to Cavs and wrap it up with this. Kobe Altman has stayed steadfast, and he mentioned it again yesterday, in their intent to keep the core four together, guys. And we talked yesterday about their best path to improvement may be internal growth, Bull, Jason, and Earl. For the sake of this discussion, let's say Kenny Atkinson is able to unlock another level of Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland and get this core four to reach their utmost potential. Is that enough? Is that internal growth enough to keep up with some of the other splash moves the fellow Eastern Conference contenders have made this summer?
By the way, Jason, this was a big topic point yesterday. G and I got into an argument about this because I have been like G, screaming for 2 years, break it up, break it up, break it up, break it up. Kobe's an idiot, break it up, break it up, break it up, break it up, break it up. And all of a sudden I had an epiphany or something in the last week. And I was like, the only way this team's going to get better is internally. Let me rephrase. In terms of the top four players on the team. They're not going to get better trading Darius Garland because he's worth nothing right now. They're not getting a wing player for Darius Garland. And Jarrett Allen's really good. I don't want to trade him. I just don't think it makes sense to trade him. I don't think you're going to get a better player. Now, if you can, fine. But ultimately, the Cavs' best path, in my mind, to winning a championship is this coaching staff getting Darius Garland back to the player he was and turning Evan Mobley into a superstar. If that happens and they add the right pieces around them, then I think they can be a championship contender. It's not by just trading for trade's sake.
I just don't know what Garrett or anyone else thinks you're going to get. Who are you going to get?
There were no answers
in the trade that's going to make you significantly better. I do think that there's a path to get to. First of all, I'm not totally convinced that these four are coming back.
Of course not.
Today is the first actionable item. Donovan signed the contract.
Yeah.
Okay, so our report after the Boston series was if Donovan re-signs, they could look to get Darius out. Well, that hasn't happened until 9 a.m. I guess over the weekend, but 9 a.m. this morning it was announced contract is done. Okay, now let's wait and see what happens. But I do think the Cavs' best path to title contention is if Evan Mobley's their best player. I've said that for years. Evan has to be their number one. Donovan has to be their number two. If Donovan Mitchell is your best player on your team, he's now 7 years into the league, and he's not made it past the second round. How much more evidence do you – he's a fantastic talent. I'm not trying to disparage him.
Yeah.
But we have 50 years of history and two guys that I can think of that a small undersized guard led them to a title, Isaiah Thomas and Steph Curry. And Thomas had a ton of talent. Every championship team has a ton of talent around him. But Steph Curry had the most shooting in the history of the game around him and another transcendental player next to him in KD for a lot of those years. So it's really hard when you're an undersized guard and you're the best player on the team to win a championship. So if we're having a championship level conversation, how do the Cavs get into contention of winning the championship? I think it has to be with Evan as their best player, unless you're going to go find a magical player in the sky that doesn't exist right now that fits onto this team. That's the reality of it. Like, that's where they're at. And in terms of the Jarrett conversation, it's funny because a year ago at this time, everybody wanted Jarrett out of town.
Right.
Get Jarrett out of here. Yeah. Look, he was terrible against the Knicks. Now it's like, Jarrett's pretty good. Let's keep Jarrett. Yeah. There's two reasons why you would trade Jarrett. Number one is, and again, going back to our report after the Boston game, if it's untenable in the locker room, if guys feel like he quit on them,
yeah, sure,
and you can't bring him back, it doesn't sound as if that's the case.
That's right.
So if you clear that hurdle, the only other reason to trade him is if you find a wing who can make you significantly better, which that may or may not exist, and if you feel like you can't play two non-shooting bigs together. But they've come out and told you they feel like Kenny Atkinson could unlock Evan Mobley. So they feel like Kenny is what will make Evan make this work. So the best way to play two non-shooting bigs together is to make one of them a shooting big.
Right.
So if Kenny can get that out of Evan, then that also alleviates a reason to trade Jarrett. The reason to trade him is because his trade value will never be higher. Look at the contract that Hartenstein just signed.
Yeah.
Jarrett Allen's a much better player than
And he's not
Hartenstein.
getting paid much more.
And Hartenstein's making $29 million. Jarrett's making
Oh, it's 29? I thought.
think it's 29.
Oh, so it's way more than
He's
Jarrett's
making
getting.
$29 million.
Well, Allen's eligible for the $30 million extension, so it's pretty in line with what Allen's
All
going
right,
to get.
but Allen's
You're
definitely
right.
better.
Allen's a better
Yeah.
player than Hartenstein. It's not frankly that much of a discussion.
He's a better player, and he's on a better contract right now. So if you feel like this is peak value for Jarrett and, like, this is the most you're going to get, like, you'll never get more from him than you probably will right now. As a non-shooting big on a good contract, coming off a good year, this is probably his peak value. So that would be a reason why you would be incentivized to trade him. But if you think you can make Evan, and to me, like, it's not Darius, it's not Jarrett. If someone on this team is going to be better than Donovan, it's going to be Evan Mobley.
EDP?
I don't think internal growth is enough. I think like taking this core four to another level,
Yeah.
I don't think that's enough to remain competitive in the Eastern Conference, because even if you unlock the best version of every single player on this team, roster construction is still an issue. And once you get to the playoffs, I think matchups become a serious thing, right? This team still got two guards that's between 6'1" and 6'2".
Mm-hmm.
You got a shooting guard that's 6'3", 6'4". There's not a lot of length out there on the court for the Cavaliers that's currently constructed. And I just think that when you lack length and athleticism, no matter how much you can unlock the potential of certain guys, you're going to run into matchup problems when it really matters the most, and know your best just not going to be good enough. So I still think that moves need to be made. To Jason's point about Evan Mobley, because to me, it seems like everything I heard from Kenny Atkinson was geared towards, I need to unlock Evan. I think we all believe that Evan has superstar potential. Will he reach it or not? We don't know. But I think if he does, that can go a long way in changing the opinion of how people view the Cavaliers externally. And I think internally, once they see him become that star, they might look at their situation a little different as well. So, I mean, he's the X factor in all this. But even with the core four staying together and developing, you still got to do something with the rest of this roster to improve things.
Sure.
So, yeah.
No, I think everybody agrees on
Yeah.
that. But by the way, Giannis didn't become a superstar till year 4.
He was 19. I mean, Evan's 19.
They're the same age, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Development takes time.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight.
It was year 4. Year 3 wasn't an all-star. Year 3, Giannis's numbers were similar to what Mobley's were last year. Now, Mobley, it's been a little steadier as opposed to Giannis, who went up, 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 and then up.
Giannis was incredibly raw when he came in.
Right.
Evan was, 19, you're always raw.
Yeah.
But he was a little bit more polished. And but it's,
I watched this documentary, and it just made me kind of respect Giannis more as a player.
don't tell Tyvus that.
Like just how
It's hard
hard,
not to like him.
like how hard he worked
Yeah.
at his craft and wanted to develop as a player and being great. Then they talked about when his family finally came to America,
Yeah.
and he was able to just lock all the way in on basketball. He
Yeah.
became one of the scariest players in this league.
So yes or no, real quick,
yeah.
before I throw out a trade idea for you guys.
Yeah.
Is eternal growth, if these guys all reach their full potential, is that enough to keep up in the arms race in the East with the Knicks, who have now Anunoby and Bridges, the Celtics, who just won the championship, the
Yeah.
Sixers, who just signed Paul George? Is
With
it
the
enough?
right pieces around that 4, I think it is, yes. I think so.
Jason?
I thought I talked long enough to get out of actually having to answer it.
He went around 90.
Yeah. I don't.
You don't think
I don't
so?
know.
If Mobley became a superstar,
If
you don't
Mobley
think so?
becomes a superstar,
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he reaches
if Mobley
his full
becomes
potential-
a superstar, then yes.
yeah, it's hard to imagine it right
But
now.
that's
but
a big. That's a.
it's a
big
huge if. Yes.
It's a big if.
The only way is if Mobley becomes a superstar. That's it.
Yeah, for me right now, it's
Yeah.
like, even if all 4 of them develop and grow as currently constructed overall, I still say no, it's not
But
enough.
if Mobley becomes Giannis, why couldn't that be possible?
I mean, AD. If Mobley becomes Anthony Davis.
Okay.
Giannis isn't a good comp for him. AD's a better comp.
Why? Explain it
They
to
just
me.
play very differently. They play.
Okay, fine.
Now, if Atkinson can develop him into more of a Giannis, who's a downhill driver like that, we just haven't seen that a lot from Mobley, maybe.
Right.
But I think what we've seen so far from Mobley
Yeah.
resembles a lot more of Anthony Davis than it does Giannis.
I thought. Okay, fine. So if he becomes Anthony Davis,
Yes.
they couldn't win a title.
They're a title contender.
Okay.
With Anthony Davis and prime Donovan, they are a title contender.
Well, there you go. Now, the percentage chance that happens is probably low, but
I don't know. I don't.
But
know
it's
that
not impossible.
It's not impossible.
Yeah.
I don't even know that it's low. I don't
Okay,
know that I
good.
would say. I don't know if it's likely.
30%? Give me 30%. 30, 33?
Let me ask you this: when Anthony Davis was coming out of Kentucky, and you know they always do player comps or what's his ceiling. Can you compare that to when Evan Mobley came out of USC to you? Who you think has the biggest ceiling at the time that they were drafted? Him or AD?
Davis is not close.
I mean, he was a much bigger prospect, right?
Well,
than
AD
Mobley.
was a guard. He was going to Cleveland State.
clear.
He was committed to Cleveland State. He was like a 6'2" guard.
Yeah.
And then he grew like 6 inches, 8 inches. So he had all these ball handling skills of a guard and suddenly had the height of a forward.
Anthony Davis was in that Trevor Lawrence, Andrew Luck type prospect coming out. He wasn't Wemby, which is the highest of high tiers.
Right.
But he was in that next tier of absolute can't miss.
Yeah.
There's no question, no debate. Mobley was a third pick
Yeah.
in a draft that wasn't even regarded like this a superstar-laden draft. It was a
Right,
good
right,
draft, but there wasn't a bona fide number one.
You
Davis was
you
a number
trade.
one.
Because then I got a random basketball
No,
question
we got